Um, I came to UNK knowing that I wanted to be a lawyer. I wasn't sure what that meant. I was a first generation UNK student, first generation college student, actually. My mom was a nurse, my dad was a maintenance man. So college and university was truly a new experience for me. Um, I graduated from UNK in 2003, and at the time I was working for the tutoring center on campus, and I was working as a waitress and a bartender at the Alley Rose downtown on the Bricks, and really enjoying myself and just not quite ready to go to law school yet. So I thought, I'll stay for a few more years and get my master's in English and put law school off. And I did that, and it was really, really a good preparation for law school. Just the amount of work, the quality of work the professors demanded. So while I may have been doing it just to delay law school a little bit, it actually ended up benefiting me a lot. My plan is I was going to go to UNL's law school or Creighton's law school and stay in Nebraska, and then come back to Kearney and work as a defense attorney. Well, I applied for law school. I applied to several law schools. UNL and Creighton both waitlisted me, which meant that if somebody had said, no, I don't want to go here, then there may be a spot available for me. But if everybody wanted to go there, there just wouldn't be a spot that year. So Washburn University, who I'd applied to in Topeka, Kansas, is a just in case sort of thing, did accept me, and they gave me a partial scholarship. So I moved to Topeka, Kansas to go to law school. I'd never been to Topeka before. I didn't know anybody in Topeka. It turned out there was a fellow UNK alum that was starting law school the same year I was, a girl that grew up in Ravenna and went to UNK, but we connected once we got to law school. So that was nice to have her there. My plan was to go to law school and then move back to Nebraska, maybe at this point, Lincoln or Omaha, and be a defense attorney there. But then I met somebody from Dodge City, Kansas, who had no desire to move to Nebraska. So after graduating law school in 2008, what I wanted to do then was be defense attorney in Topeka, Kansas. My husband was a prosecutor at the time, but the public defender's office did not want to hire me because I was living with a prosecutor, and they thought that might look bad to some of their clients. So I needed to readjust. I ended up working at the Board of Healing Arts for a few years. What that is, it's our Kansas governing board for healthcare agencies. I did lobbying for them, and I worked for the Office of the General Counsel there and did a little bit of litigating. Not my plan at all, but that's what I did. I learned a lot there, made some connections there. And then my husband, Jason, got a job offer in 2009 to come to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Wichita, Kansas, to prosecute child pornography and human trafficking. And it was a job promotion that we decided we just could not refuse. So I again moved to a new town that I'd never been to before, had no idea of anybody there. The nice thing about that is that because my husband was at the U.S. Attorney's Office, I could join the local prosecutor's office, which I did, and I've been here since 2010. I started out in the traffic division, moved up to the juvenile offender division, moved to general felonies. I worked for about 5 years in economic crimes, prosecuting embezzlements, elder abuse, thefts, that sort of thing. And recently in the last year have switched over to violent felonies. So robberies, aggravated batteries, gang cases, murders, that sort of thing. Here I am in my natural 2020 environment, either in the courtroom or in my office. And I tell you this story because over and over and over, I ended up having to figure out how to network and how to rebuild my networks. And it was something that 18-year-old me did not know when I went to UNK, that this was going to be a skill that I would need to have, and that I would need to be flexible for that. Since moving to Wichita, my husband and I have had 2 boys. Jojo's 3 and Colin is 8, and life is busy and great. I do want to jump back a bit. Like Shauna had said, back in 2000 and 2001, I was actually in your shoes, and I was sitting there as an undergraduate student mentee with Gold Torch Society. In preparing for this, Kristen found a great slide for me. Apparently, the alumni newspaper did an article on Gold Torch Society, and young Julia Mowers was quoted. And I hope you guys are having this same experience. As you can see, I noted the alumni mentors that I have had the opportunity to form friendships with and learn are my heroes, my role models, and I have learned so much from these women. I wish everyone could participate in a Gold Torch Society weekend. It's definitely a life-changing event. I hope you ladies are having the same experience. If there's anything that I can do to help in that process, please don't be shy in letting me know. I had never been around such a large group and gathering of kind, confident, powerful, friendly, and successful women. As you can see from my quote, I was pretty starstruck. You know, and the mentors and presenters over these weekends talked about things that I hadn't considered. You know, how to build a wardrobe for a professional life. Being an undergraduate, that wasn't something that I had really ever considered having to do. Talking about faking it till you make it, that work-life balance is a thing. And even back in 2000, they talked about how networking is a necessary thing. I had 2 mentors. My first year, I had a woman who was general counsel at the Buckle there in Kearney, Nebraska. And that was really the first female attorney that I was up close and personal with. And that was pretty exciting. My second year, I was assigned to a woman who was in administration at a university in Iowa. And both these women were so kind with their time and their knowledge. I kept in touch with both of them for a long time, having lunch with the local in council. One time when I was driving through Iowa, I stopped and met with my second mentor. So I would encourage you ladies to keep in touch with your mentors. Reach out to them. They are a safe person for you to talk to and to continue to develop that relationship with beyond just this weekend. Now, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret about me. I hate Zoom. I hate virtual learning. I feel a lot like either whether you're the presenter or whether you're the recipient, it's a lot of shouting into the void. And am I really reaching you like I would when I'm in person? So I'm going to have some instances in this presentation where I'm going to need you guys to respond to polls via texting. So if you can have your cell phones at the ready, if they aren't already, there's going to be some opportunities, and I want the mentors and mentees to participate in this both. At any point, if you have something that you need me to clarify on or something that you want me to talk a little bit more specifically about, please let me know. I can't see the chat feature right now on the Zoom, so Shauna or Kristen or whoever, if somebody posts something in the chat, feel free to pop in and let me know that. What we're going to talk about first is we're going to talk about networking. And I am curious where everybody is at with networking. And let me see if we can get to the actual. Let me see, I'm going to switch my screen view and you guys tell me, did the screen view switch for you?
Yeah.
Yes, no?
It's switching.
Awesome, shouting into the void here. Let's see if I can actually make this work, because like all great presenters, I have tried it out on my own, but all right, well, it doesn't look like it's gonna work for me. Hang on just a second here. Let's see. You all apps. Give me just a minute, ladies.
Like all other technology, Julia, it's wonderful when it works.
Right.
Exactly.
It is great. And you know, I found if you just keep your cool, you will get through this. So let's see if we can make this work. So the first thing I want to know from everybody is, what do you hope to get out of your experience at Gold Torch Society? Because that's going to help me know what to talk to you about. So if you can text about a 1-word response, 1 or 2 word response, we'll see what we get. And I see networking has popped up. And it's my understanding with this word cloud that the bigger and bolder the text, the more people have said that particular word. So it's a good way to get a read on the room as far as not being able to talk to you guys and just have you all shout out to me all at once what it is that you are wanting to give me. All right, and I'm going to give it just a minute more. Is everybody getting into it okay, or do you need more time?
We're in.
I'm in.
All right, so I think I'm going to stop this poll and we'll take a look at this and see. And so it looks like networking, confidence, professional development. I've seen leadership, friends, energy, all those things popping up. And those are things I hope to give you in this presentation. I hope you've heard these sort of things from presenters to start with. And I want to talk to you today first about networking and what is networking. And let me switch back to the full screen view and get you to where I'm at. There we go. And we'll go back here. So networking. So networking is 2 different things. The noun of networking is a system of interconnected people or things. But then there's also a verb of networking. Connect as or operate with a network or interact with others to exchange and develop professional or social contacts. And ladies, networking, as I've said in my brief recitation of my history, is something that you are going to have to do over and over and over again. And it's something you're going to have to start from scratch over and over and over again. So it's a good thing to get comfortable with networking. And you have to do the verb to get to the noun. You cannot have a network until you connect and you interact. So I'm curious, I've got another interactive poll in here, and we'll see if it lets me start that. And it looks like it doesn't start that. We're going to get out of the full screen share, and I think we'll see. Let me go here, and let me switch to the next question. There are no later polls. All right, here we go. Again, text the number at the top of the screen and let me know, how comfortable are you with networking? The first one, I'm not. I have no idea where to start building my network. The second one, a little bit. I'm comfortable with it, but I don't like it, but I'll do it. The third one, I think I know how to do it. And the last one, no problem. Networking is my middle name. I don't know a stranger. So it looks like we have a small subset of women here who are very comfortable with networking. It looks like we have equal amounts of very comfortable and not comfortable at all. So that's good to know. And let me tell you, ladies, you are getting such a jump on learning how to network and how to build your networks by being here this weekend. And you are really starting to build your professional network doing this today. So we're gonna talk about how to build networks. I'm gonna go back to the slideshow view because it'll let me put my animations in if I'm in the big one versus the enabled editing one. So bear with me and we'll go back to that. We're going to start out and we're going to talk about tips for building your network and what you need to do to build your network. The first thing I would recommend to you is utilize your school's alumni association, whether that's your undergraduate school or if what you are doing causes you to need to go on to graduate school, use your graduate school's network too. I talked with Shauna beforehand to make sure that our undergraduate at UNK does the same thing that my law school does. But after you graduate and you move on from UNK or you move on from your graduate or professional school, call your alumni association and tell them, hey, I'm an alumni here. I'm moving to this new town, this new state, this new country. Are there any UNK alum? Are there any Washburn alum in this area that would be willing to talk with me about the new area? And so I can reach out and make a contact. Your alumni association is such a great place to begin with networking. And you've got Shauna and Kristen that are sitting there and just ready and willing and happy to connect with you and help you out. So make sure and utilize that service. When you graduate, if you graduate from, either undergraduate or a professional school, say you go into a specific field. I think I saw in the newsletter, we had some education majors, some psychology majors, some med school majors. I think it looked like everybody was pretty smart and nobody actually wanted to become a lawyer. I could be wrong, but if you go in and let's say that you get a job, you're from Western Nebraska and you get a job in Omaha or an opportunity to go teach in Omaha, you can call Shauna up or somebody from the alumni house and say, hey, are there any education majors in Omaha that might want to chat with me about, neighborhoods to buy a house in, about, where's a good place to get my dry cleaning done? Whatever it is, they will reach out and they will help you come up with some folks that may want to chat with you and help you out. So make sure and utilize that. Make networking a daily habit. And I think a lot of you probably subconsciously do this, but it's so important once you're in the professional world. And by a daily habit, I mean, when you're on the elevator somewhere, make eye contact, smile, say hi to the people in the elevator. Get to know staff of whatever it is, because staff are really the folks that run the show, be it in your school office. If you work in a lab, get to know the lab staff. If you work in the medical field, get to know the folks that do the work, and be friendly and be open. And if you are friendly and open in your daily interactions, people will mirror that to you, and that's networking. Be purposeful in figuring out what networks you need and what networks that you need for various professions of your life, because you're always going to need a network. There's the old adage, no man is an island. I submit to you, ladies, no woman is an island. You need your networks no matter where you are and what place in your life that you are in. And when I say be purposeful, think about, you need more than just a work network. Right now, you have a strong undergraduate network. Soon you will all scatter to different places, but that doesn't mean that that network is gone. Keep that network. But think about, you need professional networks. You need both a peer professional network of you and all the other new people in your profession need to get to know one another, because someday you will be the leaders of your profession. And those relationships that you fostered over the years until you get into positions of leadership will pay dividends down the road. You also need a power network. You need to know who the bosses are and who the power players are, and you need to be a frequent face to these people and know who's good at what that you can rely on to help mentor you. You also need to be open to forging networks that are outside of your work network. Let's say you work out at your local gym and you meet another woman that has a lot of confidence. She isn't afraid of looking silly. that may be some person that it would be good for you to know and make that connection with. They might help inspire confidence in you. They might be able to help you be more lighthearted about things. So keep in mind that network building is important, not just in work, but it's important outside of work. Um, I will tell you too, there is something special about having a female network, but don't keep your network to just females. Um, I think the higher up you get into professions, and a lot of professions, your power players, unfortunately, aren't necessarily women. I will tell you, I have worked for the Office of the District Attorney here for almost 11 years, and it was just in this most recent promotion to violent felonies that I have a woman as my direct supervisor. Otherwise, I've had men as my direct supervisors every place along the way in my law career. And while it's unfortunate, it's a thing. So you need to make sure that while you have trusted females in your network, that you have men in your network too. So these are all things that you guys need to know about networks, and I hope you utilize it and do these things because they will help anytime you move to a new place, be it a new location you're living, a new job, a new building with a new set of people. Every time you have to build your network, the more you practice, the easier it is to build a network. So I encourage you to be mindful and intentional of that as you continue on with your lives and your career paths. Next, I want to move on to knowing your worth. Make lots of friends, ladies. I don't know if you've seen this meme before. It says, this lady in the washroom was looking up at me and said, I remember when my girlfriends and I would get dressed up and go out, and I miss that. So I said, why miss it? We're all here right now, aren't we? Short story, we have new friends. Now, ladies, you may not be in the place where you're wearing a super short crop top and a blazer when you have that chance to make a new friend, but you should be willing to apply this, because when you have friends, that is truly the foundation of your network. There's strength in women encouraging women and being there for one another. And this is an interaction. If you look at these pictures in this meme, this is an interaction that I think mutually benefited everybody. And there's so many times in life that you can have this opportunity of a kind word or a shared experience may lead to more kind words or shared experiences. So even if you're in that bottom 15% where you're like, oh, I'm an introvert, this would make me very uncomfortable reaching out and just being bold like this, try and do it. It may pay off dividends for you. The other thing that you guys need to know for knowing your worth personally is that all relationships don't last forever. Be that friendships, be that romantic relationships, that relationship won't last forever. And that's okay. There's different seasons for things, and there's always new friends to be found. But what I want you to remember is that when a relationship ends, make sure and think about what you liked in that relationship so you can look for it in future relationships, but also think about maybe what you didn't like so much about that relationship, because there must have been something that caused you to not keep that person in your life forever. And what was that thing? And maybe be cognizant of that in the future. But know that there is always opportunity for relationships, whether they are for a brief period of time or for a very long time. Another way to know your worth on a personal level or personally is to become financially literate. I cannot tell you how important this is, and no one had that conversation with 18-year-old undergraduate Julia. Learn how to do things, learn about investing, learn how to make a budget. It's one thing, It's one thing to live off of student loan money, and it's another thing to have to work. And I know some of you are in the spot already where you know how to experience that, or you may be working to build your budgets with your student loan money. But it is so important for you to take the time to be financially literate, either through listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, reading books, talking to people. But becoming financially literate is so important. Make sure that you pay yourself first. What is your dream? What is your financial goal? Do you want to own a brand new sports car someday? Do you want to be able to travel? Do you want to have a down payment for a house? Do you want to have your student loans paid off in 5 years? What is your dream? Figure out what your dream, what your financial goal is, and pay yourself first in your budget. Every time you get that paycheck, pull out some of that money right away and put it towards your dream, earmark it towards whatever your dream is. And the sooner you start consciously doing that, the quicker you fulfill your dreams, and the more dreams you get to fulfill in a lifestyle. Because let me tell you, if 18-year-old Julia Hart had figured that out, I think I probably would have been a little bit farther ahead financially. And I hope you ladies are cognizant of that, and make sure and pay yourself first. Fund your dreams. Make your money work for you. Also, know the difference between wants and needs, and that's a hard one. But it's important. So think about when you're making those impulse buys, is this funding my dream, or is this just a short-term want? And I'm not telling you, I'm not one of those curmudgeonly old boomers that say, kids today buy too much Starbucks and avocado toast, and will never be financially responsible. Buy the Starbucks, buy the avocado toast, buy your wants, but think about how much money you have to go towards the wants and how much money you want to put towards your needs. So becoming financially literate is so important. It will cause you to not be beholden to relationships, not be beholden to certain jobs, if you know how money works and know how to make it work for you. I would also encourage you, life keeps getting busier and busier. Make sure and take time to foster those forever friendships, because while not all relationships last forever, some do. Keep in touch with your old friends. Keep in touch with your friends from college. Keep in touch with your friends from graduate school. Keep in touch with your friends that you had your first job together with, and you were in the trenches together. These relationships are important, and sometimes as life gets busier, you really have to make an effort to continue those relationships. And even if it's just shooting an occasional text, or sending a memory to them, or just even a once a year phone call, make sure and take time for that. But while you're taking time to keep in touch with old friends, also make sure and invest in new relationships. All those times that you have to start your network over, make sure you're looking for new friends and new people to fold into your inner circle and make a new meaningful relationship for you. Make friends with work friends, make friends with workout buddies, make friends with moms on the playground. Make friends with people who you think would be a good friend. And they're all around if you are open to it and take the time to do it. Also, be intentional in surrounding yourself with people who fill your cup. Friendships should not be hard. Relationships should not be hard and be all work. They should be a lot of fun and leave you feeling fulfilled and feeling like your cup has been filled, and you feel better after spending time with that person. Don't fill your life with people who take and don't give back to you. Make sure too that you are the type of friend that is filling other people's cup, or the type of coworker that's filling other people's cup. And in doing so, you will find and know your worth and feel fulfilled personally, and that will definitely spill over to your professional life. The next thing I want to talk to you about in knowing your personal worth, make sure you have work-life balance. This is such a challenge as you continue to move on. And I know you're working on finding that balance right now in your majors as undergraduates. I think for a while women would say you can have it all. And let me tell you, that's not true. And there may be some of the mentors here that agree with me, some that disagree, but I submit to you, ladies, that is not true. You cannot have it all. You can have most of it, most of the time, but you can't have all of it, all of the time regarding work-life balance. And that's important to know and relieve yourself of any sort of guilt. It is okay to have most of it, most of the time. Don't feel bad about not being 100% invested in work all the time, or 100% invested in being a parent all the time. There's a balance to it, and that balance is on a continuum, and it goes back and forth. Make sure that you have interests outside your career. Burnout is a real thing, and I know you guys are all so eager to go start your careers and work hard and prove your worth. But no, your next chapter is a marathon, not a sprint. Make sure and have that work-life balance. Develop hobbies outside of work. Take up, once you're not so busy with undergraduate, take up playing the ukulele, take up gardening, take up whatever interest you have that can be a passion for you outside of work. It will make you more multidimensional. It will make you feel more fulfilled personally. And like I said, know that balance, it does need to be fluid. There will be some points in your career where you do need to give 100% to your career, and maybe your bathroom doesn't get scrubbed that week, or maybe you eat takeout every night that week, or maybe your life partner has to be the one that puts your kids to bed that week instead of you. And maybe you can return that favor later, or maybe there's times and periods where you can really focus on you and on repainting your living room, and doing some sort of home remodel that you really need to do, or being there for your child when they're little. But know that balance needs to be fluid. It's never 100% work, or never 100% home in your balance. It's a continuum, and rarely is it 50-50. And don't feel bad about that. Acknowledge it is what it is, and that it's a phase, and devote yourself fully to whatever phase or balance you are at that moment, and know that you'll work through it, and it won't be there all the time. Be cognizant of that. There's going to be times in your career where you aren't going to be all work. You're going to have home life that's encroaching, be it that you have a parent that you'll need to care for at some point, or your partner gets ill, or whatever setback it is. And no, it's a phase, it's a stage in your life, and this too will pass. But don't be so worried that you're not at this point of the continuum of work-life balance at work that you don't appreciate this more home phase of that balance. Next, we're going to move on to knowing yourself professionally and knowing your worth professionally. As you guys heard from my short recitation, despite my best laid plans, I have ended up somewhere doing something, at least the side of something that I never planned on doing. You know, if somebody had told 18-year-old me that I was going to live in Wichita, Kansas and be a prosecutor, I would have laughed at them. Um, don't think your major is going to determine your lifelong career path. And it's okay to change your mind and to take advantage of opportunities that arise, even though if it may not be an initial part of your 5, 10, 20-year vision plan. Um, things happen like they're supposed to. Be open to opportunities that arise, even if they aren't on your original game plan. It may lead you somewhere that you really like. And, you know, if you try an opportunity and if you don't like it, you still have that original game plan. You still have that education, that degree that you can go back and you can get back on track for what your original goal was. This is so important, ladies. Be kind and courteous and respectful, but if someone doesn't return that favor, don't waste your time and energy trying to change their mind. I think women spend a lot more energy worrying about whether someone likes them on a professional level. And while it's good to be liked, it's not necessary. Your work colleagues aren't your friends. They don't have to be your friends. If they do end up being your friends, that's awesome. And what a great gift. I will tell you, some of my closest friends are people that I work with, but I don't go into any new job thinking everyone is going to be my friend. And quite frankly, not everybody is going to like you, and they don't have to like you to respect you. And that's okay. And it's important that you figure out how to sit with that feeling of knowing it's okay. And you don't have to like everybody either. Everybody doesn't have to be your friend for you to respect them. I'm going to go back for a minute. On that note, too, know how to set boundaries, ladies. Learn how to say no. Just because somebody asks you to do something doesn't mean that you have to do it. If you don't have an inclination to do it, if you don't want to do it, if somebody's asking you to take their share of work or give you an answer that you don't want to give them or you don't think is the right answer, it's okay to tell them no. And let me tell you, being a prosecutor and negotiating plea offers with folks who, you know, they want a chance on probation versus going to prison. Sometimes that's an okay resolution, and sometimes that's not an okay resolution. Sometimes people do things that they need to go to prison for. And what I do is a series of telling people no, essentially. And, you know, even I graduated from law school in 2008, you know, even 12 some years later, it's not always easy to say no, but it's something as a professional, as a woman, that you need to learn to do. And if you're able to set those boundaries and feel comfortable and confident in doing that, you will feel so much better professionally and personally. If anybody needs tips along any point in their career, I believe my contact information is in the handout from the Gold Torch Society directory. If not, call Shauna. I am happy to give you all my tips and tricks for saying no. But that's so important. And I think if you spend time talking to your mentors, they will tell you whatever field they're in, there are numerous opportunities where you have to say no and you have to learn to set those boundaries. And there's courteous, respectful, professional ways to do that, but it's important that you do that. Next, know your value in the marketplace based on your job skills and your education and your experience, not on your gender. I'm sure everybody in this Zoom chat is aware that there is income equality. And you know, it's one of those things that you aren't going to get the raise if you don't ask for it. You aren't going to you aren't going to get a better offer if you don't ask for it. And that is something that you will need to do um, in your career. I tried to find there's a few different numbers there. I know when I graduated from undergraduate, I think it was around 73 cents on the dollar is where the wage gap differential was. It looks like it's gone up a little bit, but let me tell you, ladies, you aren't doing 20. Oh, I have a lawyer math here. You aren't doing 19 cents less work on the hour every hour than your male counterparts. This is something that as you go on in your careers, know that if you are working as harder than your male counterparts, if you know how to do something better, and with your female counterparts too, ladies. I mean, this doesn't extend to just the males. You know, you ask for a raise and they tell you no, you're in no worse place. But you know, if you can justify why it is that you should be paid a certain amount, you know, be it you've been busting your hump on a project, or you know, you've been in an area where you have special expertise, or you're a more senior member, go talk to your boss, talk to your supervisor, talk about getting a raise. Um, know that there's probably people in your office that, or in your building or wherever it is that you work, that have your same experience that probably are making more. So it never hurts to ask. Ask early and often. Be kind, courteous, respectful, and know your professional worth when you ask for this raise. This was kind of a startling graphic to me. I thought, if you look at it, this first number here, that 16 to 19-year-old age, teenagers are paid less than their male counterparts. When you enter the job force, when you graduate from undergraduate, you're probably going to be paid as close as possible to your male counterparts as you will at any time in your career. As you see, as it goes down, or as your career advances, as you get older, that pay gap increases. And you know, some of it may be justified, I say, by your employer, by, you know, maybe you took time off for maternity leave. Maybe you took time off to care for a sick parent or sibling, because often that sort of thing falls on the women more than it does the men. But that doesn't mean that you are less qualified or that you are worthy of getting less money. And don't get complacent with it. Don't think, you know, because I've been with this company for 15 years, I've topped out on pay. That may not be the pace, ladies, because cost of living keeps increasing, and they're starting your younger counterparts who start 20 years younger than you at a lot higher rate than you started at. So there may still be room for you to grow. So be cognizant as you advance in your careers. You are worthy of being paid just the same as everybody else, and make sure and ask for that raise, ask for that pay. Another thing that's so important to know your worth professionally: fight to the death against imposter syndrome, ladies. One of my colleagues has this sticker on her personal computer, and it cracks me up. And I think a lot of you probably have experienced that, maybe even in undergraduate. Carry yourself with the confidence of a mediocre white man. You've all met that person, that man who talks over everybody else and thinks they're the expert, when 9 times out of 10, they probably aren't. I will tell you this, in my experience and in reading studies, men apply for jobs when they're minimally qualified, and women apply when they're highly qualified. Ladies, don't do that waiting dance. It may not feel like you're the most qualified person for the job, but you are perfectly qualified compared to everybody else applying for a position. So apply for that job, apply for that raise, apply for that advancement, because you are capable, Even if you feel inside like you don't know what you're doing, nobody watching you thinks that. Nobody is as self-critical. Nobody is as critical about you as you are to yourself. So know that you can do it, and don't let that voice, that little voice in your head, stop you from doing things. Carry yourself with the confidence of a mediocre white man. Um, and know, ladies, that you have a right to speak up, be it in class as undergraduates or professionally at your jobs. Speak up in meetings daily. Your opinion and your expertise is valued and it matters. And it's not always the easiest thing to do, to speak up, to offer your solutions, to offer your take. And a lot of times you may not be asked, but again, the men are not waiting for somebody to ask them. If they have a thought pop into their head that they think will benefit the company, speak up. And ladies, if you see one of your fellow women trying to speak up and being spoken over in a meeting in a room full of people, help that sister out, help that friend out, and say, hey, I value you. What is it that you are saying? What are you offering to the group? There is solidarity in numbers. And again, much like if you conduct yourself in a way that is friendly and open, other people will be friendly and open to you and mirror that back. If you start speaking up and helping others speak up, they will return that favor. So professionally, know that you are qualified, you are capable, and your opinion and your professional take on something matters, and you should share that with your organization. Here's oh, and let me go back there. Here's the Etsy shop. If anybody wants to go buy that sticker, that's where I got this particular graphic from. There's many of them out there. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is also very important professionally. Life is a series of corrections. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to make missteps in your professional life. When you do that, own it and then get back on track. If you made a mistake, say, hey, I made a mistake. I regret doing that. Move on. Don't sit there and wallow on it. But this is important. Apologize if you have done wrong. Even if it was unintentional, if you have hurt someone, own it and apologize and commit to changing, and then work to change your error and move on. You earn a lot of points in the eye of that person because it takes a big person to admit that they've made a wrong decision or a mistake. And it's not fun to own your mistake, and it's not fun to apologize, but it's so important, and it will pay dividends down the road, and you will feel better personally, which will make you feel better professionally. Choose your hills to die on. Sometimes you're going to have a knee-jerk or emotional response to something at work that, in retrospect, maybe you wouldn't have had that. For that, I submit to you, go up to own your mistake and apologize if you've done wrong. But sometimes, ladies, in your career, there are going to be hills that you need to die on. And when there is, own it and stay firm in your position, even if it's not the popular position. You know what's right. You know what you're supposed to do. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit contradictory from what we've been talking about owning your mistakes. Don't apologize too much. Women are definitely guilty of apologizing far more than men do. It comes naturally to us for some reason. I found this cool little graphic, this pie chart of when people apologize. You apologize when somebody else bumps into you. Before you give an opinion on something. Sometimes it just comes out of your mouth. But then you look at the white slice of that pie chart. When you have a legitimate thing you need to apologize for, Women spend so much time apologizing and justifying for things that men don't worry about. And it's not necessary. It's not powerful language. It is not the language of a boss or a person in charge to apologize constantly. One thing that I came upon probably about 5 years ago, preface your apologies and thank yous. You know, instead of "I'm sorry for being late," "Thank you for waiting for me." Um, "I'm sorry I forgot this file. Thank you for getting that file for me." Instead of going to your supervisor or your mentor and saying, "I'm so sorry I'm bothering you. I'm causing you an inconvenience. Thank you for making time for me." Coming at something that you want with a position of gratitude and thanks causes the recipient or person on the other end to frame whatever your following interaction is in such a more positive, helpful slant than starting with the negative language and mindset of, "I am a bother, I am causing something that needs to be apologized for." So really try and frame your apologies in gratitude, and it will really help advance you personally and professionally. I'm coming to the end of what I have. This is a new book that's out by Abby Wambach called Wolf Pack, and this quote I thought was so helpful. "If you have a voice, you have an influence to spread. If you have relationships, you have hearts to guide. If you know young people, you have futures to mold. If you have privilege, you have power to share. If you have money, you have support to give. If you have a ballot, you have policy to shape. If you have pain, you have empathy to offer. And if you have freedom, you have others to fight for." Now, note in this quote, ladies, it doesn't say if you have the most powerful voice or if you have the most privilege. This is if you have any of these things, no matter how little or big, you can make a positive mark from your own small corner of the world. And I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to do that both personally and professionally. The theme of this year's Gold Torch Society is educating, inspiring, connecting, and empowering. I'm hoping that all of us gathering today through the course of this day and interacting with one another and speaking has such a big impact on you ladies, much as it did to 18, 19-year-old Julia Hart back in 2000 and 2001. This is truly a life-changing experience for you. And I think if you talk to any of your mentors, they will tell you they get as much out of their interactions with you as you do with them. So I thank you for applying. I thank you so much for sitting through a Saturday of Zoom sessions. I know we're all so tired of looking at screens, but I'm hopeful that we have made real connections through sitting at our separate screens, separate but together. Every single woman is here to help you. Take advantage of that. If one of your buddies has a mentor assigned that you either made a personal connection with, or there's a quality that you appreciate about them, don't feel shy to reaching out to one of the women of the Gold Torch Society, even if they aren't your assigned member. Any one of us alumni of the Gold Torch Society are here to help you in any way we can. I'm going to turn this back over to Shauna. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Shauna, if you have anything to add, please do.
Okay, I'm gonna have you stop sharing your screen just quick so we can get back into gallery mode.
There you go.
Julia, thank you so much for that presentation. Everybody, yay!
Oh, great. Thank you.
Ooh, good job, dear.
Thank you so much. Do any of you have any questions or comments that you would like to share with Julia at this time? Don't be shy.
I would just like to say that knowing 18, 19-year-old Julia and knowing her today, it's such a pleasure. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you definitely used the tools and you everything that all the advice you gave, that's what you've been doing. And it's so wonderful to see it in action and to see you continuing and to continue to push it forth to these women and to the alums. I mean, I'm 43 and I learned stuff, and I learned it from you. And so that's great. And I just appreciate you sharing your experience so much. It's been great to see you grow up.
Thank you so much.
And it's been great working with you and all of the presenters today, but I really did like the quote you said about filling your cup. I think that is so important, and that's something that all of us can easily do, making sure we have people in our lives that fill us up and fill our cup, and making sure we are passing that on to other people to make them feel that way as well. Anything?
I just wanted to say that I really appreciated this, and I felt like you gave such good and relevant advice and tips. I mean, not just especially for the undergrads, but it was all good reminders for me as well. It reminded me of a quote that I had heard. I'm sure we've all heard of it, but when it comes to like trying to strike a good work-life balance, and I don't think that that always exists. You know, sometimes work has to take priority and sometimes your family takes priority. But when you're juggling, being able to identify what balls you're juggling are glass and which are rubber, and when one drops, what's going to bounce back up and what's going to shatter, and not necessarily feeling like you have to keep all the balls in the air all the time, but just knowing in that moment, you know, what's going to shatter and what's going to be okay if you drop it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again so much to all of our presenters. You were amazing. Thank you so much to all of our girls and to our mentors. Thank you so much for making this meeting great. We're coming towards the close. We had a few more things to do. Please note that on Monday, I will be sending out a survey for how this event went. It'll be another Google Forms doc, so hopefully very quick and easy to fill out. Please provide us with your feedback, because hopefully we will not have to do this on an online format again, fingers crossed. But we want to know how we can improve it. And also I'll give you some space to have feedback about what you would like to see if you were able to be in person with it. So we also want to encourage you to, if you know any girl who wants to be in Gold Tour, encourage them to join. If you know any professional alumni who would like to be mentors, please encourage them to also join the Gold Tour Society and give back. And now at this time, I'd like to talk to our advisory board, and they have Joyce and Marilyn have a couple of special messages to give to you as we close out.
Thank you, ladies. We're here to tell you, Marilyn and I are here to tell you